Well, how about that? Here we go. What's going on, fellas?
Yo.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in once again. Welcome back to Combat Insiders Live. Thanks for bringing us into your homes, onto your phone, or whatever the hell you're watching us on. But we appreciate you either way. Huge show tonight. Of course, we got Tom Shoaff coming up. We have Rashad Calhoun from Celebrity Boxing, Celebrity Designer. Kaleb Harris, KO heard around the world from BKFC 7 this past weekend. Jim the Beast Alers himself. Huge. He really increased his stock, man, from this past weekend. He's just really, I think he really just became a star overnight. And not overnight, but you know what I'm saying. He's been grinding for a long time. Quentin Henry, his kind of come from behind win last weekend too, man. Like, you know, it kind of looked like he was kind of on the outs there, and boom, came back, won the fight. Super stoked to talk to him as well. So action-packed night. I'll tell you. Quick shout out to one of our sponsors, as always. StreamYard, StreamYard.com. Check them out. They're the ones powering this stream. Use them. Go to StreamYard.com. Actually, use the link that's underneath this this video here down in the description box. I've got a special referral link. That way they know we sent you. You know, if you need help with, you know, streaming, whether you're gaming, whatever, please use it. It's super easy, super intuitive, and it's just a hell of a lot easier, man. It just makes things easier. You don't have to, especially the people, you know what I'm talking about. You people that use Skype or you use, you know, some of the other services that's out there. You know what I'm talking about. You know how big of a pain in the butt it is. So just stop. Use StreamYard. Tell them we sent you, and that's it. Nick, my friend.
Yo.
It's been about a week, but what's going on, man?
I'm just here, man. Getting ready for this stream. I'm excited for this stream. For the guest lineup. A lot of stuff happened in Bare Knuckle. That show said a lot.
A lot
stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on this weekend with UFC. There's a lot of huge announcements on the Bare Knuckle side, and I guess we'll get to that. Real quick, huge announcement too. Don't want to forget, guys. Our new website is dropping soon. It's dropping very soon. I know you get tired of hearing us say it's coming, but just trust us. It's coming. Yeah. It's dropping very soon, and we will give you all the details on that as soon as they're available. I don't want to be like the guy who cried wolf, right? The guy that keeps on saying they're coming, and they never show up. Well, that's
it's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
It's definitely coming. But We got Tom Shoaff coming up very soon. We're going to talk about UFC. It was a 241, right? This weekend.
241.
UFC
It's the Diaz show. That's
of
what
course it is. That's a Diaz show. The Diaz show coming up 241. We'll talk
There you
about
go.
BKFC 7 with Mr. Tom Shoaff and our backstage our backstage Combat Insiders crew member.
Yeah.
Tom Shoaff, he was back there getting the fighters on the show for us. We had Arnold Adams stop by for a second. Leonard Garcia stopped by for a second, just a second. But
Yeah.
It was right before them going out, so we appreciate it so much. Man, this weekend I'm pumped, man, because at first I didn't want to see DC versus Stipe again.
How could you not?
Well, it's just tough because I didn't quite understand the hype behind Stipe, right? Because I was like, oh, well, he's the most defending champion ever. But like, it was heavyweight, right? He defended it 3 times. And I don't mean that in any form of like disrespect. I just mean it in the sense of like people were really all up on him and they kind of bought it like it was this huge thing. Like, they're trying to like make like a lot of comparisons, like, like, I don't know, like Anderson Silva or something, like, oh, he's a great defending champion. Well, he defended 3 times.
The heavyweight division's tough, though. I mean, those guys don't go in long streaks.
I understand. I really do. I get that. I guess I don't know. And maybe I'm looking at it from I don't know. Maybe I'm not the best to really talk about Stipe. I mean, I like Stipe. I don't know. I just never thought he was. I don't know.
He's going to win.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't see it.
I think here's how I think it's going to go. I don't foresee the fight staying on the feet. While DC landed a clean shot, we can't argue that. Out of the clinch, probably part of the game plan. I think his road to victory this time, he's going to have to wrestle Stipe. I just think Stipe's striking is better, and he got caught.
Well, let's not forget.
And that happened.
It does happen. I mean, he did throw some bombs as well. Like, he threw some bombs and hit DC, and DC walked right through him.
DC is a champ. Like, no matter what happens in this fight, I don't foresee it tarnishing his legacy at all. He's done everything. I was reading earlier that there's now no interest in the Jones fight again. I don't even know. I guess I'd watch it kind of, but I think the flame from that fight is gone because he lost, but there was problems with both fights.
Yeah.
It's on the same level with me of trying to book Tony and Khabib for the 785th time. Like, I want to see that, but always something happens. But the weekend I got Stipe picked.
I'm in agreement. I really don't want to see DC Jones either. Like, the only thing I may have wanted to see was a heavyweight, but I just don't see Jones going up to heavyweight right now. I just don't think it's possible. But other than that, I really don't care, man. I don't care to see it. I'm not interested in DC losing the 3rd time, and it's no knock on him either, but it's just the way it is. I think John Jones every time will beat DC at light heavyweight. Every time.
He's got his ticket. That's just what it is.
10 out of 10 times. The only difference maker at heavyweight, maybe it's a little different. Maybe DC has a little more power. Maybe Jones is a little bit slower at heavyweight. There's a couple intangibles there, but I just light heavyweight. I just don't think it happens.
I really think if that fight happened at heavyweight, you wouldn't see Jones crack 225. I think he would still. He'd put on some size, but I think he would stay. He's smart, man. He would stay in his lane. He has power. He's not going to lose his speed, But I don't think that's a fight. I just don't think we're going to see it. I don't think it's as interesting as it was, 8 months ago or 6 months ago.
Well, hell, look at what Randy Couture. I don't even think he hit the 225 mark when he did heavyweight. I think he would come in under or like right at it. If he was there, he was like right at it. I don't think he went too much more over that, man.
Right.
I think, Randy Couture was heavyweight champ for, help me out.
I don't know, long enough that his tactical decision worked.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, I see Mr. Shoaff down there. We got him coming up. Our honorary crew member here, Mr. Tom Shoaff. We're getting we're getting Tom. I'm sending Tom a shirt, man. We're giving him we'll give him the full Combat Insider treatment, whatever that means.
He's a good egg. He's a good egg, man.
He's a good egg.
Yeah.
Guys, real quick, we're gonna take we'll let Tom kind of get settled in here. We'll be back in 30 seconds with Mr. Tom Shoaff.
Brad Bishop and Stem Nutrition. And shout out to the Combat Insiders for allowing us the opportunity to introduce ourselves. We're a supplement company geared towards combat sports. We're designed with the fight in mind, so don't cut weight without us.
Well, if I didn't know any better, I'd say Tom Shoaff just got done punching some people in the face.
Yeah, I was playing a little bit of punch face.
Okay. All right. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? How are you? There's not much going on here. You called it, just at the gym, working out, training, trying to get myself in some shape. I got pretty fat after Biloxi, so I got some weight I got to lose.
So we talked about it a little bit on the in private here, but is there anything you can divulge? You kind of semi-announced you got a fight coming up. No details yet, but what can you divulge? Is there anything you can?
I mean, honestly, I don't really. I don't know much.
Okay.
The best way that I can describe it is I know for sure that I'm fighting, and from what I've been told, from what I've gathered, they're at a crossroads between not doing a 55 tournament and doing a 55 tournament. That's what I gathered from the situation. I'm supposed to find out relatively soon if they're actually going to do a 55 tournament, and if so, whether or not I'm in the tournament, and if I'm in the tournament, who my opponent is. If I'm not in the tournament, I'm not in the tournament. It's null and void at that point. Regardless of tournament or not, I will be fighting October 19th back in Tampa. I have confirmation of that. So that's what I can for sure tell you.
That's good enough.
October 19th in Tampa.
I'm happy with it. Yeah, October 19th in Tampa. That's the one.
Well, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you, man.
You and me both. I'm ready to get back in there and get some redemption. And I'm ready to get back in there and fight at a natural weight class. I've been fighting at like 65 and 70 for a bare knuckle for whatever reason. And I'm finding it. I've committed myself to actually doing the full weight cut, ripping all the weight off, getting down to my natural fight weight, so to speak, of 155, and seeing how I perform there. 65 was tough, but it was doable. 70, I was getting thrown around. Julian had his way with me in there, and I didn't like that. So I got to get back to my natural weight class.
You know why you took fights at that weight? Because you don't turn down fights.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I'll fight anybody.
Yeah,
I'll fight anybody. I keep telling them that, but it's not the best for my career, and that's the long and the short of it. Is regardless of how tough I am, if I don't win fights, people don't want to see me fight. So I got to get back to my winning ways.
Well, let me ask you a generic interview question.
Okay.
Is there anybody in mind? Like, is there anybody maybe you're thinking of that you'd like to step in there with, or it just genuinely does not matter?
It's one, it genuinely doesn't matter. If you call me and say, hey, we're gonna give you this amount of money to fight Brock Lesnar, as long as there's enough zeros on the end of that check, I'll fight him. That's just me.
I'll take Brock for 6 zeros. For
real. I mean, I don't know anybody that wouldn't. But, I can pay for a new brand at that point if I needed to. But no, I don't have. I've been fighting at 65, 70 for bare knuckle pretty much the whole time that I've been here. Yeah. So I have two answers to that. One is I don't really know who's at 55, so I can't give you like I for sure want this guy or I for sure want that guy.
Yeah.
what I can tell you is that I've seen most of the people that have been fighting roughly around my weight class, and there isn't a single one of them that intimidate me. There isn't a single one of them that I'm like, oh shit, watch out for that guy. I mean, absolutely zero disrespect towards any fighter in any of the weight classes, but to pull a page from George St. Pierre, I'm not impressed by any of their performances. They all look great. They look like they're tough dudes. Jim Alers looked fantastic against Leonard Garcia. And Leonard, was down to 55. He made his weight. He did everything that he was supposed to do. I'd fucking fight Jim Alers in an alley tomorrow. Doesn't bother me. Kaleb Harris got that knockout of the night. Superb knockout. I'll fucking fight Kaleb in a phone booth tomorrow. Does not bother me. There are plenty of guys at 55, 65, 70 that would probably be willing to come in and play with me at 155 pounds. So to bring this thing full circle, I don't have anybody that I'm like, oh, I want that fight. Yeah. But I'll fight anybody is the long and the short of it. Isaac Valley Flag, I think he's looking half decent after his little victory on he had 3 rounds? Went 3 rounds before Melvin broke his hand. Gassed out, but broke his hand. And then so I mean, like I said, anybody, man. Anybody. Anybody can get it. 155 to 170. Let's get it.
You know what's nice though? I know you want to fight at your natural weight. Fighting out of your natural weight, you've put on solid performances, no matter what the weight difference is, no matter what the size is. And the general consensus of the fans and everybody is that they don't care about your result. They want to see you fight. Like, what you bring to the table is, we know what you're going to do. You're going to get in and you're going to fight. We know that. So I think that's kind of a hats off to you. Like, I'm taking fights at this weight and that weight, and everyone loves it.
Well, like I said, I love the fight, man, and I appreciate you acknowledging that and saying not only that I would be willing to step out at any weight class, but also admitting that win, lose, or draw, I come out and I put on a good performance. I appreciate that people like that, but nobody wants to lose. We don't do this to lose. So it's like I could finish my bare knuckle career at 1-10 and have 9 fight of the night performances, but I'm still 1-10. So it's like, I don't know. I do appreciate that, and I love the fact that people tune in to see me fight. I love the fact that I can be that personality in and outside of the ring. But I'm always there to win, plain and simple. Regardless of who they have me fight, I'm trying to knock your fucking head off. I'm trying to win. So we'll see what happens.
Tom, you know what? You bring up something interesting, and this I guess it kind of translates across, whether it's MMA, boxing, or bare knuckle, whatever. Is we've seen this mentality start. I'd say probably, especially within the last 5, maybe 10 years. It seems to be more of a focus on the entertainment factor in the fight. Like, I just want to be entertaining versus, like you say, solely focusing on the win. Because sometimes getting the win isn't necessarily pretty, right? It's not always exciting. It's not always going to be this or that. But maybe speak to that, man. Like, speak to that mentality of like the entertainment factor versus just going in. I don't care if they boo me out of the fucking building. I'm getting this win. Like, I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, I think that there's absolutely 2 mentalities that fall into the sport of fighting, and that's the fighter and the athlete. Fighters fight, just plain and simple. They don't care about scoring points. They don't care about winning rounds. They don't care about looking good in the judge's eyes. They're going to go out there and fucking scrap. They're going to turn it into a dogfight. It's going to be ugly. And win, lose, or draw, you know that this guy came out and he tried to fight. Excellent examples like the Diaz brothers. All right. Like, those guys aren't trying to score points. Those guys aren't trying to pitter patter and get through the rounds. They're coming out to fucking fight you. So you have that mentality, and then you could take, damn near the same weight class, George St. Pierre after he won his title. George wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting not to lose. He had no issues taking you down, holding you down, and resting in position for a minute or two and just buying time. just so he
Right.
would win, not so he wouldn't lose. There's two mentalities. There's, like I said, that athletic mentality and that fighter's mentality. I think it's very important to have a solid balance of both. You have to be athletic and you have to be intelligent. You have to get out there and you have to outmaneuver and outsport your opponent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There is an athletic attribute to this game, but if you don't go out there and fight, you don't win. Plain and simple. My old coach used to say that some people fight using technique and other people use technique to fight. I fight using technique. Some people are just or the other way around. They come out and they want, like I said, they want to play the points game. They want to look cool for the crowd. They don't want the crowd to actually appreciate what they're doing. I have a deep-seated necessity for people to love me. So when I step out in the arena and I hear them go nuts, I get all sorts of butterflies and get excited. And when I'm covered in blood and fucking rallying like a crazy person and the crowd's going nuts, like I lose my shit. I legitimately feel like a 21st century Coliseum gladiator. It's the best way that I can describe it. I get off to the crowd. So I play to them. I have the mentality of I'm here to fight. And if I lose and I wind up on my back and lose, well, I went out and fought, It's kind of like what you're saying. Sometimes winning's ugly. Well, I'll take it. I'll take a grueling, ugly loss in which I fought my ass off, Julian Lane, versus a pretty loss where I just ran the whole time and avoided damage. I'll take that Julian Lane fight any day. I'll take that damage repeatedly over running from somebody and just trying to score points and be athletic about it. That's my long-winded explanation for that.
It's a good answer, man. Like you said, I maybe not so much. It's harder to do, I guess, in bare knuckle than it is MMA. With MMA, you can, incorporate grappling and stuff, and you can slow it down, and you can, really change the pace. Like, not that you can't change the pace in bare knuckle, but it's just different, right? It's a little different. But
a great example is like Rusty Crowder versus Reggie Barnett.
Yeah,
Rusty was outclassed and outmatched. And instead of just being like, fuck it, I'm going to take this ass whooping, and hung out in the middle and took that ass whooping, he ran.
You know what other fight comes to mind with that? Paulie and Artem. Not that Paulie ran, but Paulie used outside the jab. He did what a boxer would do, as to where Artem was just like, you know what? Let me just try to get this guy in one spot and let's just slow down.
Absolutely. There are two very different mentalities going into this sport, and it's always nice when it's like that saying, especially from MMA, styles make fights. It's always nice when you get two fighters together or you get two athletes together, because then it's like a technical match. You get Tyron Woodley versus who's that? The Wonder Boy. That was the slowest, most drawn-out 25 minutes of my life. But I was on the edge of my seat. Yeah, but I was on the edge of my seat because it was so technical that you were like, ooh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Then you have the flip side of it, where you've got two guys that just want to – you got Clay Guida and who did he just fight? Jim Miller. Just two guys who are just maulers, who just want to come out and just chaos in the middle, and whatever happens, happens. There's two very different types of mentalities when it comes to the fight game. And I thoroughly appreciate when you get both. When you get two fighters in a fight, or you get two technical guys in a fight, it's very difficult when you get like a boxer versus a brawler type situation, because one of them wants to run and evade and be technical, and the other one just wants to maul you. Yeah. So it could turn out interesting, but for the most part, I find that it becomes more boring than anything. Excellent, I should say boring, but not as exciting as we'd like it because of the obvious circumstances.
I do feel like what you bring, though, is the in-between, and your second fight with Diego is the perfect example. You were willing to stand and trade, but when you got trapped or stuck in a corner, you brought all the technical boxing out, box your way out, reset. So absolutely. I think you have I think you have the balance correct, and not even just because you're here. We've said this on shows when you're not on it. I mean, I think your balance of what you do, you can bring out either end as needed.
So I appreciate that, and I try, man. That's one of the reasons why we do what we do. We have to train this just as much as we train this, And if I wouldn't be doing my job, and I wouldn't be doing myself justice if I didn't recognize the facts of the situation. And the facts are that I have to be just as intelligent as I am physical. And when you can balance those properly, it goes a long way. It helps quite a bit.
So to switch gears a bit, we were talking about this before you came on. Just out of curiosity, let's swap over to the UFC card real quick on the weekend.
Okay.
DC and the one coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
DC Stipe.
Okay.
What's your assessment? Who do you like?
Ooh, that's toughy. It's funny. I just looked up at my wall here, and I've got 2 posters of DC. But regardless, I gotta go with Stipe, man. I think Stipe is hurt, like emotionally, from that loss. I think he finally understands what it's like to be in there with an Olympic level competitor, not only an Olympic level competitor, but just a monster like DC. And I think that's changed him. I think that he's taken it to heart, so to speak, and he's going to come back with a vengeance. I also think that DC has so much going on that maybe fighting isn't his sole focus like it is for Stipe. Like Stipe, he works at the fire shop or the fire station, and then he trains. You know what I'm saying? DC is like a commentator, and he's like the lightweight champion, the light heavyweight champion, the heavyweight champion. He's doing 900 things. He might not be training the way that he used to. I think that's certainly plausible. If I had to bet, and I'm terrible at betting, but if I had to bet, I'd say Stipe.
And we might as well see your thoughts on Pettis Diaz. I'm going to stay out of this one because I'll just admit it. I'm biased. I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm going to stay out of the whole thing. What's your thoughts on that fight?
I am uber biased. I have been a Diaz fan my entire career. I'm watching Nate Diaz slap the fuck out of Robbie Lawler and then knock him out. Like, is partially the reason that I got into MMA. But I think it's going to come down to movement. I think it's going to come down to Nate Diaz's front leg. If Nate can't walk forward and put pressure on Anthony and trap him and beat him up with that boxing, it's going to be a problem. If Anthony can dance and maneuver and use those leg kicks to chop out that front leg so he's got no power, he's got no takedown defense, and he can't walk forward, it's Anthony's fight. So who do I want to win? Nate. How do I think it'll play out? I think it all comes down to how well Pettis utilizes his kicks. Long and short of it. Anybody who tries to box Nate's going to lose.
And who was it? RDA was the original guy to write the book on fighting Nate.
I think RDA and then McDonald. When he went up to 170 short notice and fought McDonald, and McDonald ragdolled him. Just ragdolled him. Chopped his legs up, picked him up, slammed him. Chopped his legs up, picked him up, slammed him. Just ragdolled him. Granted, way bigger than Nate, and you can have all the excuses in the world. But yeah, RDA and then McDonald really laid down the law on how to beat the Diaz brothers. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Like I said, it's that front leg. If you're going to allow Nate to walk you down and get heavy on that lead leg and pepper you with shots, you're going to lose. If you're evasive and using your footwork and chopping out that lead leg so that he can't move, you got a much better chance of winning.
Now, Josh,
I'm pretty sure the reach is pretty similar too. So it's not like he's fighting somebody who at 155 who's got 6 inches of reach on. That's not the case. It's going to be a fun fight. I'm interested. I'm excited about it. It's going to be interesting.
Now, Josh, you're going the Pettis route, I think, right? You think Pettis is going to do that?
I think Pettis is in a different mindset than he has been, hell, even as of recently as like the when he fought Poirier, right?
Mhm.
I think something happened to him because he was on that losing streak. He was on a terrible losing streak. He lost to Poirier, and then something just happened, man. You know, he had the Ferguson fight, which he still lost, but
But he looked pretty good.
he looked good. We saw something different come out of him. Like it's
Mhm.
almost like maybe like his love for the sport came back, right?
Could have been, yeah. Maybe he hit a little plateau area and he started to feel flat. It's plausible. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I've gone through that, man. I've done that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys do that, especially like career fighters, you know, guys who are in it for 10, 15, 20 years. You'll see these highs and lows in their records where they're just kind of chugging along, dragging along, going through the motions. And they tend to get beat up in those periods. And then they hit like a spark of motivation or whatever, and then they skyrocket again. It happens a lot, especially with these career fighters. I could see that for sure.
I think he was there against Ferguson. I mean, you can't stop an injury.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
True.
what he brought to that fight was crazy.
And then we
For
saw
sure.
him, you know, knock
No doubt.
out Wonder Boy with the Superman punch.
That was nuts.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. I think Pettis is in a different place right now, and I think that if Diaz, I'm not saying it's not possible, but like if Diaz is going to beat him, I think they're both comfortable in that war. You know, the 5 round. Well, it's not going to be 5 rounds. It's only 3 rounds, but they're both comfortable being in that dog fight type of situation. They both love it, right?
Definitely.
And I think if Diaz is going to beat Pettis, he's going to have to take him there.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I just
especially
I don't
after
know,
a 3-year layoff, man. Pettis has been active over the last 3 years. Nate hasn't.
I think Pettis is going to be the stronger of the two. I think he's going to be the heavier shots, and I think like his body kicks are nasty. His leg kicks are nasty. I don't know, man. And he's weird. Like he's the way he throws strikes out of nowhere, like the Superman punch against Wonder Boy. Like they're just nowhere. Like there's no setup for it. He just fucking throws it. And next thing you know,
he's very. What's the word? I was gonna say elusive, but that's not the word I'm looking for. He's
Unorthodox.
very unorthodox. It's hard to expect or to telegraph or whatever. Like you said, it's just there. Like one second he's dancing, next thing you know, there's a Superman punch and fucking Wonder Boy's going to sleep.
Yeah,
he's an incredibly crafty striker. I got to touch back to what you were talking about just a second ago, though, when you were saying that they're both comfortable in that dogfight, and I absolutely think you're right. Nate's going to have to force that dogfight upon him because he's been out for 3 years, and chances are he goes out with a lackluster performance. They're not going to bring him back. Now, I don't know if they want to bring him. I don't know if he wants to come back. I mean, I saw him at the open workouts yesterday, like smoking blunts. Like, you're going to fail your drug test, bro. So I don't know if he wants to come back. I don't know if he cares. I don't have a clue. I think that dogfight mentality absolutely has to come out of Nate. And I think that the best way for him to beat Pettis is just like you were saying, take the fight to him. I also think that if Pettis is evasive enough and can chop up that lead leg, Nate's not going to be able to take the fight to him, and it's going to be Anthony's fight to win.
Let me ask you a dumb question.
No such.
So I know like weed is it's USADA said it's okay outside of competition, but it's not okay inside of competition. How many days or hours before the fight is considered in competition?
I think it's 12 hours.
Okay.
Hold on. Obviously, I don't fight for the UFC. I don't have a USADA contract, anything like that. But the way that I understand it, because I know a lot of people who fight in the UFC, the way that I understand it is it's 12-hour. It's like a 24-hour period from the moment you fight.
Okay.
So your piss has to be clean 12 hours before, from 12 hours before you fight to 12 hours after you fight. And they can test you any range. So they'll test you right before the fight, they'll test you right after the fight, and then they might come knock on your door in the morning and test you again. So if he's been clean for which I doubt, but if he's been clean for like the last month, has nothing in his system, burns a little bit, and then goes out and does his workout, and it's like a 300 microgram level that he's allowed to have, he very well could come in under the USADA limits the day of the fight after just smoking 2 or 3 days before and still pass. I think that's what's considered in competition is that 24-hour period. It's like you're about to compete, so you're in competition. I think that's when it lays over. But again, I don't have a clue. I genuinely don't know. I'm guessing. This is kind of things that I've pulled together from different sources.
I wonder if there's a scenario to where because of that he gets popped and the fight you think there's a weird scenario where that could happen where he gets popped and they're like, hey man, you can't fucking smoke a blunt during the open workout. A, you can't do that. B, you pissed hot. You know?
I think
from the point of smoking, you will test positive for 30 days.
You'll test positive for THC, but they allow a certain amount of micrograms in your piss. So like if I say you gentlemen don't smoke, so you have no THC micrograms in your body. I smoke, the three of us smoke a bowl. And then you go take a piss test. Today, your results might be 302. Tomorrow, they could be 175. The day after, they could be down to 100. You know, so that's the thing. It's like it will be in your system. There's no doubt about that. But you're allowed to have a certain amount in your system because that says that like I said, anything under 300 micrograms or whatever essentially says that you haven't smoked in the last 12 hours or the last 24 hours or whatever the case may be. So if you come in at 299, it's like, ooh, you really pushed the limit there. But if you come in at 0, it's like, oh, well, you're clean. You know, fuck off. Get out of here. So it's you will piss hot if you smoke weed. It's all about how much is in your piss. That's where the debate is. Because everybody used to get popped for it all the time because it was like 30 micrograms. You'd have 30 micrograms in your system. And that's essentially like you walking into a room and somebody blows weed in your ear. Like you can piss out 30 micrograms on that. Yeah.
Right.
So then it went up to like 100 and then it was 150 and I think now it's 300. So yeah, to bring it back, I think that if any family is renowned for being self-destructive, it's the Diaz family, especially in the fight game. You know, Nick was scheduled a couple of times to fight. I think he was supposed to fight GSP and just said, fuck it, I'm not going to press week. Like, no, I'm not interested. A week before the fight, didn't show up, and then the fight was canceled. Like, they just said, screw it. Like, he doesn't want to fulfill his obligations. Fuck him. We'll move on.
Right.
I think that it would fit right along the timeline of the Diaz family and something that would happen to them. Typical, we're all waiting for Nate to come back and to put on this good performance. He wants to fucking give, you know, a big fuck you to the UFC, so he burns one at open workouts, and then they say, okay, well, fuck me, fuck you, you know, and they suspend him. I could see that happening. I think they'd get way more backlash from the community for doing that this close to the fight than they would just being like, all right, we'll take the fuck you and just not re-sign Nate after this fight. Plus, they're gonna make more money if they let him fight. Long and short, they let him fight. They pop him for that piss test. They're gonna make twice as much money.
I feel like they put asses in the seats no matter what they're doing wrong.
Yeah,
they have. Yeah. They're like, I mean, I'm a Nate fan. This is not a secret, but they have like a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm still trying to figure out. They've got a solid group of
people like me that don't give a fuck and want everybody to know, fuck you. I think that's why everybody. That's why I like them. God, that's why.
I'm still mad. Neither one was on UFC 209. Like I'm still trying to figure out why there wasn't a Diaz brother on that card. Because it's 209.
Yeah, I don't have a clue. If I had to assume, it's because people like the higher ups don't like the Diaz boys. Like, you know, they're renowned for saying fuck the system. Like that's what they do.
Apparently Nate is too real for this sport. And
dude, absolutely, man. Like it's very simple. Like it's like Jorge Masvidal. You know, it's like there are some people you just don't talk shit to. There are some people that aren't. There are fighters and there are athletes. All right, the Diaz brothers, Masvidal, guys like that. Like those are fighters. Those are guys who grew up fighting before it was fun, before it was a sport, before everybody thought it was cool to be a cage fighter. Those guys were fucking scrapping. That's a completely different person than somebody who grew up wrestling or grew up in jiu-jitsu and decided, oh, I'm going to try my hand at MMA. Totally different mentality. They're fighters, and they are not going to let any. They've spent their entire lives trying to be who they are, in my opinion. What I've gathered out of them. I mean, I don't know them personally, but from what I can gather is they've spent their entire lives trying to be them, just trying to be accepted for being them. And finally, once they've started getting recognition and making a living and doing what it is that they want to do when they want to do it, and everybody's just flooding them with love, why would you change that? You know, you get a cult following for telling people to go fuck themselves. Probably gonna tell someone to go fuck themselves twice a day
because you can.
Exactly. And like, what like Nate goes up to 99% of the community and tells me to go fuck themselves. What are they gonna do? Fight him?
You try that.
Yeah, but like you're not gonna win.
Nah.
You know, and like I don't know. Like I said,
Can I play?
Tried and true about those guys that I wholeheartedly appreciate. I am a huge Diaz fan.
I'll play devil's advocate to this. I'll play devil's advocate to you two on that.
I like it.
So if I'm running a $1 billion company and I got a guy that is essentially bad mouthing me or just doesn't give a fuck at every turn, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care. Like, yeah, he draws money, but it's not like I think a lot of people are confused with this, right? Where like everybody thinks that he is like this huge fucking draw. He's a big draw. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a big draw, but he's not Conor McGregor a big draw, right? And that's not me kissing Conor's ass. Those fights were that big because of those two. Right.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Right. Just because of those two. And I think that people are like misconstruing how big of a draw he is just because of how big those two fights were that he was in. For sure.
I can absolutely agree with that. And I wholeheartedly.
And if I got a guy, if I'm paying a guy, I don't know how much Nate makes, but let's just say I'm sure he at least makes six figures. I'm sure easy. Oh, if I'm paying a guy six figures, but like at every turn, this fucker's like, man, fuck Dana White, fuck UFC. Eventually, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro, you got to stop this fuck UFC shit. Like, you got to get out of here with that stuff. Like, I guess like at what point does that cool guy kind of, everybody loves Nate for it, and I get it. Everybody loves the Diaz brothers for that because, like you said, they speak their mind and people love them for it. But like, is there a point to where that kind of reaches a line and it crosses that line?
Well, wait a minute. What's worse here? The whole fuck the UFC at every turn, or Conor's rap sheet?
100%. I'm not.
Didn't he just punch an old man? Didn't he just punch an old man in the face?
Absolutely.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right, and it needs to be. You're right, and it has to be across the board. I guess my point is that like you can include Conor in this. You can include whoever in this. I just think like there needs to be something like a standard. If I got these guys working for me and I'm paying them X amount of dollars, and all of a sudden it's fuck me. Like you said, Tom, like, fuck me, no, fuck you. Peace out.
100%. 100%.
Go fight on Bellator, buddy. If I'm a big piece of shit and I'm this asshole boss, go work for Mr. Scott Coker. Go work for Mr. I forgot the one championship, but go work over there, buddy. They'll be glad to have you.
Chantry Sittagong. I think that's how you say it.
Gesundheit.
Yeah. I think that what's up, Miss here? I think it goes back to exactly how you started this argument.
Yeah.
If I'm the owner of a $1 billion business, I don't give a fuck who likes me. I don't give a fuck who's talking shit about me. I care about who's making my business money. So you can say F Dana White, F the UFC, F my company. You still work for me, asshole. I'm still cutting your checks. So say whatever you want to say. Sell the fight. Sell it. Do it. The second you start turning to a McGregor where you're beating up old dudes and throwing dollies through windows and the whole 9 yards, now you're becoming detrimental to my business. But I don't think what Nate's doing is detrimental. I think if anything, it's no different than what McGregor was doing. He's promoting. He's promoting himself. He's promoting the fight. It's like that saying, like all publicity, even bad publicity is good publicity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's kind of mentality here. Is if I'm the owner of $1 billion business and
Right.
one of my employees is running their mouth about my business,
Yep.
but still pulling in money for run your mouth. Like, shit, say whatever you got to say. Yeah, that's me, though, because it's business.
On that
Now, if I
same
wanted to
note,
get
would
my
you
feelings
say,
about it, I'd be like, okay, that's a different story.
what would
but
you
I
say
think
about the Cyborg situation, though? Because I'm not saying
what happened with Cyborg? Oh, like
Well-
when they manipulated the
right,
subtitles or whatever.
Right, they fucked around with it because she's been saying for months that Dana White doesn't like me. He's trying to run me out. They're lying about me wanting to accept or not wanting to accept the Nunes fight, the rematch, blah blah blah.
For me personally, I feel like they're attacking Dana personally, and I think there's a difference. With the exception of that one time that Nate slapped Dana, and they had that little
But
argument.
didn't he ask him to do that though?
Yeah.
Didn't
He's
Dana
like,
ask
put it
him
in my
to do that,
like,
right?
I will put it in your contract. You can slap me if we can have you back. And that's my point. It's like they're never like, as far as I could tell, the Diaz brothers weren't attacking Dana personally. They're not attacking Sean Shelby personally. They're not attacking the rest of the guys personally. They're attacking the company. Like, look, as a company, I'm not fighting. As a company, I'm not getting paid well. USADA's like gay. They're keeping all these guys on fucking steroids and they're not letting us fight for weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's attacking their ethics. He's attacking their philosophies as a company. He's not attacking them. And I think that was the fatal flaw from what's her name, is they attacked Dana personally. They changed what he said. They literally put words in his mouth and then took other words out of his mouth. Made it look like he was attacking Cyborg. That's a personal slight. That's a personal attack. Yeah. Move on. Be gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're attacking the business or you're attacking the fight, so to speak, like, I don't want to fight this guy. Well, that's, you fight for the organization. Sometimes you got to work double shifts. That shit sucks. But yeah, like I said, I don't think that they're attacking anybody personally. They're attacking the company. They're expressing their opinion on how the company's run. That comes down to politics and ethics, and that's a board. That's not one person. That would be my idea on that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's fair enough. Yeah, because you're right. Because that is different. Cyborg attacked Dana personally. Right. He's more attacking, like you said, like the business as a whole, I guess.
For sure.
For sure. No, I know that's a good point. It is different.
I think that would be my stance on that. If I had to make a educated assumption on what's going on, I think that would be it.
I think that's fair.
I do have one more shift gears question.
Shift gears, going to third.
Yep. Right from the get-go, first thing that comes into your mind, BKFC sign in Bigfoot Silva. What do you think?
I feel sorry for Bigfoot. He's fucking huge, and he can't lay on people.
That's true.
The big part of his game is the fact that he's a monstrous black belt. Don't get me wrong, he knocked out guys like Alistair Overeem, but that was after Alistair was off steroids.
Right.
So I think that it's going to be a dangerous situation for Silva in the long run of each fight. I think if he steps out with 80-some inches of reach and, cracks someone in the forehead and puts him down with a lunchbox of a hand, it's gonna be an easy night for him. 100%. I think if it goes past 2.5, 3 minutes, it goes halfway through the third round, he's gonna be sucking wind. He's gonna be tired. That's my gut reaction. Is it could be it's a big name signing, no doubt. But I think that it's going to be tougher than Silva thinks it's going to be.
Agreed. I think that's a good.
I'm happy to have him though. Yeah. Bring all the Brazilians. Bring all the big names. Let me go. The more guys they bring in, the more opportunity there is for me to fight. That's the way that I see it. Even if they're heavyweights, even if they're not anywhere near my weight class. They got training partners, and training partners are always interested in coming to fight for organizations that their training partners are fighting for. So
100%.
I think it's a huge opportunity for the sport as a whole. I think it's a great opportunity for BKFC, and I think it's going to be big for the roster once it progresses. But I think it's going to be tougher than Silva gives maybe anticipating.
100%. Well, Mr. Shoaff, we appreciate your time, sir. We thank you so much for coming on. It's always you're always welcome on our program, sir.
Well, thank
always
you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always glad to be
Always
here.
welcome.
And I'm pretty sure we're on for next week too, right?
Yeah, you're on co-hosting duties next week, so stay tuned for that.
It's
Tom
official.
Shoaff.
I'll have to rock my staff shirt.
Guys, we got Rashad Calhoun. He's
We got
coming up
you.
next, involved in the celebrity boxing event coming up. So stay tuned. Tom Shoaff, we appreciate you, sir. We'll see you next week. And in
Thank you,
30
guys.
seconds, we'll be right back with Rashad Calhoun.
Have a good one.
Mr. Rashad, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Hey, man, we're
What's
doing
up?
great, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Hey, so real quick, man, for everybody, you're involved in the celebrity boxing event coming up in Lake City. I guess real quick, before we get to that per se, you also design for celebrities as well. I guess kind of tell people, who you are, what you do, and how you got involved with all this. Hello?
Rashad Calhoun from Chester, PA. I graduated in 2007. I started clothes when I was 14. I always had like my own style. All my friends and my peers always had Timberlands, Rockaware LRG. I always just wanted something different. So my mom used to buy me all the high price stuff. Make it to what I thought it was, how I wanted it to be. And pretty much my peers thought it was like pretty cool and how it looked and stuff like that. So on and so on. I raised money to, get my first sewing machine and tell myself how to, make clothes, and then it just went up from there.
I would sew my fingers off trying to use a sewing machine. I'm just,
I can
my whole hand would be webbed. There'd be all stuff all in between, all stitched up. But so how did you actually come up with the brand name? I thought it was interesting. How did you end up with? I mean, because you create great stuff and then people start to like it. Obviously, a good product with a bad name is a bad product
Right.
at the end of the day. So how did you?
Well, yeah, pretty much Dejari Rashad backwards. Pretty much, I wanted to show people versatility of front and back, right and wrong and left and right, stuff like that. So I wanted to be like more like cliche and fun with it, nothing too more than what it is. A Dejari is pretty much a household name, and it sounds pretty much universal. It could be on cologne, perfume, and like it's real different. So pretty much with that, I just had to believe in myself. Pretty much in what I do and put myself out there. And I had to be my first advertisement in clothing. So by my peers and my fans, before I had fans, seeing, me wearing my own stuff, they always loved it and my style was different. So I had the first couple of customers that, wanted my stuff, and I made it for them. They start advertising my things, and it just grew and grew on from there. And then I'm really known in my city for doing prom dresses. So that's like one thing I do real great. And it just, now my clientele went from one person now to 53 clients for prom every year. So it's real dope.
It looks like now it's kind of wild. You, at one point before you decided to box, you actually designed like walkout gear for the fighters. You designed for people at celebrity boxing.
Right.
What made you turn the corner? Like, I'm not going to dress you anymore. I'll just fight you. What happened?
Well, pretty much everybody knows that I styled Nat D, not for her last fight that she won, but the fight when she fought Hoops. I had made her mask, I made her shorts, her top, and also her robe. And then also, when I had talked to Damon, me and him talked about good new opportunities. I'm outside of that, and then I said, you know what? I think I would want to do this. This is something different. I'm always wanted to try out boxing. It's not really my thing, but it's something fun. And then when I pretty much signed up for it, I noticed that it wasn't just about fighting and boxing. It was more about a great cause, and also a brotherhood. Like all the boxers that I met, that's pretty much all in the same corporation of that. For us, September 7th, they all became brothers to me, like cool and uplifting and real dope. So I'm pretty much like we all pretty much keep in cahoots and connect all together like day by day, and pretty much just leading up into the fight September 7th. So yeah.
One thing I think you might have left out, and I thought it was a big thing because we did the interview before. Your line has been on rappers at the Emmys or the Grammys. Which one was it? Like
Grammys,
you left that
yep.
part out. That's a big deal.
Right.
Like you left that part out, and the Grammys,
I know, right?
like it doesn't get more fashion red carpet runway than that. So what's that like the first time? Like you could go back and watch the Grammys that year and be like, "That's mine. I designed that."
Well, pretty much the Grammys and the BET Awards, that was always my goal. Actually, that was my last year goal to do it this year. And I said, you know what? This year is my goal to get my clothes on somebody that's going to the Grammys. And then luckily, did you know, I had got a call Thursday morning, and the Grammys was actually that Sunday from a stylist named Troy outside of ATL. He said, Rashad, he sent me a text at 6 o'clock in the morning, said, Rashad, I need you to make a dress for a big superstar. I said, sure. He said, but the only thing, I need you to ship it out today. I'm like, all right, cool. I got you. I can do it. So I got up, went to the fabric store. They sent me her measurements. I made the dress and within 2 hours, shipped it out. They got it by the next day. And then she was wearing it on the Grammys, which is on that Sunday. And it fit perfect. She needed no alterations. I never met her a day in my life. And it just fit like a glove.
And that star was? And who was the star?
Her name is Corinne Hawthorne, and she was actually one of the winners for The Voice.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
See, you gotta. He left out the biggest part. You gotta
right?
touch on that. That's like the most important part.
I'm mad.
Right?
I'm mad that I didn't pick up that Desar was Rashad backwards until he said it. I'm mad that I didn't see that until he said it. But that's clever, man.
I wasn't gonna bring it up because after he said it, I'm like, how did we not see this?
Yeah. How do we not see it? That's very clever, man. So what do you do? So what are you doing to get ready for celebrity boxing, man? Like, Well,
actually, my dad, he's a personal trainer, and also he's good at boxing, as well. So, I figured that it was a good fit to have him train me and get me ready for the fight. And we're actually doing great. I lost a couple pounds. I'm actually eating better. I feel better, more energized, and I'm just ready for the day.
Is this something that you think? I mean, I don't know. Is this something that you're looking to maybe multiple times in the ring? Is this kind of like a one-off kind of thing, just for fun?
I mean, actually, Bob, in the beginning, it was just me. I'm like, this is like a one-time thing, try it out. But I'll feel as though that I want to continue on with it. It's definitely a dope process, mentally and physically.
So what do you?
So what are your?
Go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, obviously you're fighting Nick DiDonato from MTV Catfish Show. He has fought before for celebrity boxing. Does any of that even matter, or your preparation is just going to be what it is, and you guys will figure it out on the 7th?
Actually, in the beginning, when I found out that I was fighting him, I'm like, oh my god, this is a setup. But then after that, I'm like, you know what? It's good, it's cool. I got it. I watched a couple of fights. Me and him talk actually, and exchange good words to each other. I'm just preparing up to the fight. But I'm ready. I never back down from anything. Nothing ever like feared or scared me. So I'm just ready for it. It's going to be a great fight. We're going to put on a great show, and that's it. One thing, this is for charity. Win or lose, I'm not getting knocked out. I know that for sure.
All right.
So no knockout.
Nobody wants to get knocked out. Yeah, nobody wants to get knocked out.
But here's the question: are you knocking him out?
Of course. Again, listen, I'm gonna try my best.
Okay.
He's more professional than me a little bit, but listen, I'm trained by the best, and I'm gonna do what I got to do.
I will say at the press conference, you guys were very cordial, even though you're fighting each other. The one at Chima in Philly, there was they weren't at each other, but you could tell they were ready to like. We could set up the ring out.
Right.
Like,
And that was my first time actually meeting him too. Actually, when I went to the other conferences, I always heard his name, but I never got to personally meet him. And that was our first day that we actually met. So,
in a face-off.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, man, because this is different, right? Because you're used to getting people prepared to be in the spotlight, like, with your brand, right? You're branding them. You're preparing them to essentially be in the spotlight. Now it's like you're going to be in a role reversal, right? You're getting prepared now. You're going to be in the spotlight, front and center, with celebrity boxing. What is the we talked about the physical preparation side, but in terms of the mental preparation side, because it is different. Like, what are you thinking now? Like, is your nerves starting to kick in? You think they're going to kick in sooner than later, or are you you're fully confident? It's not a thing. You're good. What's the mental game like?
I'm a person that's very, very fully confident. The nerves never kick into the actual day of, and that's for anything. Even when I'm doing New York Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week, I always get that stomach feeling minutes before my music goes on, before my clothing go out. Once it starts, all that goes away. So it's a natural feeling.
I'd like to add, I don't know anybody that ever said I'm going to New York Fashion Week and Paris Fashion Week. Just a side note.
I know.
You're the only person I know that's done that.
That's all right.
Right. It's a whole other world, man. It's like. Go ahead.
Oh, God. No, I was just gonna say. How do you think
Fashion Week for a designer is like our Super Bowl. It's that big for us. You know what I mean? So it's dope. I look forward to it every season. It's huge.
No, 100%. You know what? And I think that because you have that hustle and that grind, right? I think that anybody who has a hustle and grind in anything, I think you can also translate that, that trait about yourself to really anything, right? Whether it's working out or sports or music or whatever it is, like that natural innate hustle and grind like mentality, you either have it or I think you don't. You either have it or you don't, right? And you obviously have it, with starting from scratch with your designer company and all that. So like you obviously have it, man. So no, I tell you what, I'm excited. I'm excited for the show, man. We're excited to see you.
Oh yeah.
we will be there. We will be there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And actually, I would love to make y'all some shirts for the event too, also by me.
Oh,
so
we're in there.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
Oh wow.
We're gonna be fashion. We're gonna be like, yo, this shit is fashion week, okay? You don't even know,
styling, man.
You don't even know about this life. We don't know about that life either, but we're gonna find out.
Right. No, by the way, man, the article was so dope, man. When I say like I was getting so many calls from my friends that knew me for years that never knew my whole full story, and that one article put everything all into one big thing. I even had my best friend like, yo, man, I didn't know that you. I mean, this, that. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, whoever did the article, they put that together well, and I just really appreciate that so much.
Soon read, I bought a sewing machine and didn't know how to use it.
Right.
I knew we were good. I knew we were good. You could tell a great story before it happens. But yeah, man, things like that. It's you guys that make those easy. When we put stuff out like that, I mean, everybody's got a story, but yours is. I mean, you've done what people don't do. Most people in the fashion world, let's be honest, you don't make it to the Grammys by yourself. So I think what you've done is kind of it goes to show people it can happen. It doesn't matter if it's fashion or fighting or what we do or anything. If you're willing to work at it, right? You can make it happen.
And that's what I'm all about. But pretty much when I'm talking to like different kids and peers and schools, I'm like, listen, man, it's not all about college. Sometimes it's all about the talents you have. Like, and you should have a good support system. And if you don't, believe in yourself. Like some kids don't have the mom and dad that's their support at their first track meets and basketball games. You know what I mean? It's like in fashion shows. Like at the end of the day, you got to be a number one supporter. You know what I mean? And just keep going with it. Like dreams are made to come true. In my house, I watched it. No,
100%. And like you're saying, I'll just throw my 2 cents in that too. Like I was already kind of talking about, but like no, like your article, man. Like what Nick wrote about you and stuff, man. Like I really I love stories like that, man. I really do. I love stories of seeing people, like I was saying, kind of grinding their way up. And there's a there's a phrase that I love that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, right?
Oh wow.
Because all people see is the Rashad now, where you've got your stuff, you've got your stuff made, you're gonna be on Celebrity Boxing, but it's like,
Right.
man, it took you years to get here, right? Everybody sees that overnight success part, but it's like, no, man, no.
It took long, right?
I've been grinding. No, this isn't overnight success, my friend. Like I didn't get lucky. I didn't fall into this. This is something that's been happening for years and years and years, man. But
it's
no,
dedication and then sticking with it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Dedication,
sir.
sticking with it, believing in yourself, and just, just expressing your talents. Like sometimes when I think of some ideas, I'm kind of scared to put it out, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. And then when I put it out, it's bigger than what I thought it was. I mean, it's awesome. Like I get so much great response back from the crowd and fans and family. It's awesome.
No,
I think we could somewhat relate, not to the Emmys or the Grammys or whatever. But it's the same thing what we do. You start here, and there's levels, and there's always going to be more levels above you. There's never going to be a top level.
Right, exactly.
Well, I don't know. You were already at the Grammys. We can't really count him. He's already he's already been to the Grammys. But you know what I mean? Like there's always going to be that next mountain for you to climb.
100%.
There's never going to be
I'm
an
trying
end.
to make next year better and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and there's always, I tell you what, too, man. I tell people this. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about, it sounds cliche, like people trying to live out their dreams per se. It sounds like it's such a cliche thing to say, but man, like it's so important, because no matter what, you're gonna have obstacles, you're gonna have haters, right? You're gonna have people hating on you every single step of the way.
Exactly.
It's all about the mindset up here, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Just do it.
And you're also going to lose friends too.
yeah. You're right.
Like
you are. You're
I watched
gonna...
it. It's crazy. It's like some friends you try to hold on to, but it's like God is saying you got to let them go. You know what I mean? Because like some friends are like real toxic to you. You know what I mean? And some are just not happy for you.
Is that really a friend? Like, look, me and Josh work together here. If he goes off and does something phenomenal in media or anything else, I'm supporting it, even though it's not me that did it per se. A friend,
exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I think it's not that you lose friends; you find out who the fake ones
are. 100%.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care. I'm gonna be wearing stuff that was at the Grammys. I don't give a shit now. I'm
there you go. There you go.
Exactly.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Calhoun, we appreciate your time so much, man. Guys, check out.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, absolutely. Celebrity Boxing 69 is going to be in Atlantic City at the Showboat, September 7th. Wait, do not miss it. Do not miss it. We're going to be there. He's going to be there. It's going to be a blast, man. Well, like I said, we appreciate your time so much, man. And in 30 seconds, absolutely, we're going to bring Kaleb Harris on. He's going to talk about his KO heard around the world. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. Rashad.
All right.
See you later.
See you later. Bye. All right.
There he is. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Not much, man. Just finished cleaning up here at the gym at Primal.
Man, I remember not that long ago, about a week ago, we were just sitting there talking. You were talking about your fight coming up, and here you are, huge knockout. What's going through your brain right now, man? Like how you're feeling?
Man, like I'm still in shock, to be honest with you. Like I'm trying to keep my head level because and my teammates of course know, I'm still just me.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that how many people have came out and told me they've seen the fights, or I've got buddies that are sending me messages like, dude, your YouTube videos hit 300,000 views. I've got people that, are following me that have seen me. I mean, I got you guys, I've done like 4 interviews this week, and like, I'm glad I took a couple of days off work because there's no way I could have fit everybody in. And I don't want to tell anybody no, but you know, it's
that's a good problem to have.
Crazy. Yeah, definitely. It's
on a side note, we had you on before the huge knockout of the night happened. Just so whoa, what was that? I heard a buzz. All right, anyway. So your fight, man, it was wild. I know when we talked to you, you were as ready as could be, mentally, physically. 4 knockdowns in the fight, and then this massive KO, right? I mean,
let's talk about this, Caleb. We're gonna do a quick little rewind here. I don't know if you could see the screen. Let's talk us through these moments right here.
About the head movement to get to the pocket. That's exactly what we've seen. Game, set, match. Wow. Walk away. One punch knockout to finish this fight and the win for Kaleb Harris.
Wow.
Nasty right hand hit him right.
I don't get tired of seeing that.
Well, what's it like? Like when you go back and watch that, like what were the moments leading up to that knockout? Like, did you feel like it was coming? I mean,
so with each knockdown in the first round, oddly enough, I actually think I may have told you guys. I don't normally predict like anything. I just want to be prepared for everything. But I kept telling everybody, I'm taking this guy out in the second round, I'm taking his head off.
Yeah.
And so in the first seconds of the first round, I knew whether he'd said that he'd had, street fights before or not. I knew he was feeling the same kind of fear, the same kind of doubt that I felt facing Stevenson. And I told one of my teammates, I'm going to pin him to the floor with it. So I came out nonstop, determined that I was going to throw punches for the next 10 minutes nonstop if I needed to. And with each punch that landed and knocked him down, my confidence grew. And I could just see him starting to run defensively, not offense at all. And so in the minute rest, went to my corner, and my corner is Dustin Puma and Johnny Little, who've been my corner for ages. Dustin told me, he's like, man, he's loading up that left hook. He's loading up that left hook before he starts any combination. And so I went back out. I told him, I said, I'm finishing this round. He said, I know you are. And I went out there, knocked him down within like the first 10 seconds. And I just felt that it was getting easier and easier. And so I could hear Dustin. I saw him switch stances, and I could hear Dustin yell, watch the left. And I saw his shoulder dip, like he was fixing to load up for that left hook. And I just knew I could beat it. And I threw the 1-2. When I felt that right hand land, I felt it sink. And it just, y'all saw the refs, he just, his eyes kind of went glazed over as he fell. And first and foremost, I want everybody to know that watches this. I immediately wanted to go over there and check on him. I asked the ref several times, and he let me go and check on him. And then I went in the back and checked on him while the paramedics were checking out to make sure that he was okay before I ever went around celebrating anything.
One thing I noted, too, when they were trying to find him a stool, you were outside, like, reaching through the ropes.
And I ain't gonna lie, Bill Clancy scared me. Like, I mean, when he screamed, somebody get me a damn stool, I was like, yes, sir. And, like, I started looking for mine.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think it's one of the unfortunate things. It is part of the sport, And,
there's Jim Alers said it best on the interview he did with Chris last night. There's Jim Alers outside of the ring, and then there's the bare knuckle beast inside the ring that doesn't give a damn about you or who you are. That he's there to win. He's there to kill if he needs to, and that's pretty much how it is for me. I'm one of the nicest guys you'll meet outside the ring, but if we step in the ring and there's a ref between us and a paycheck on the line, I'm sorry, but I'm coming out with my hand raised.
I'm going to ask the generic question here, but I mean, what's next for you? Like, what do you do now? Do you kind of take a little break? Are you like, man, I want to get right back in there? Like, what's
so?
You even have a bruise on your face right now? I don't see one.
Bruise on the face? No. He did land a hard shot that split open the inside of my lip, and it's still healing after about 5 days. I still feel it every time I eat salty food.
Right.
But as far as what's next, number one thing that's next is I got two of my boys One that I've been friends with for over 20 years, and actually owns the y'all can see the logo, Primal Martial Arts here in Forest, Mississippi. He's getting ready for an MMA fight in November. So number one, I'm here to help them get ready, just like they helped me. But as far as what's next for Kaleb, I can't say anything just yet. But let's just say that there's some big news coming soon.
Okay. We'll have to wait like everybody else. I'm okay with that though. We like big news. Big news.
I'm intrigued because we've already heard like several announcements that can't be made just yet. I'm gonna use quotation marks here. I've heard several somewhat already, but nobody can really spill the beans. So I'm that excites me to know that you've at least got something's cooking. So that I tell you what, that excites me enough just to hear that, man. What did
I want to know?
No doubt. Well, I mean, talk about Jim Alers too, because you guys, I would say standout, but I mean, hell, there were so many good fights on the card. But especially you and Jim were, I guess, essentially the two big standouts. Along with, I want to bring in Helen Peralta too, because she did an awesome job against Christine. But talk about, did you get a chance to watch the Leonard Garcia fight?
Yes, I did. I was sitting there with my family, watching the fight. I mean, Jim Alers came out there just like. And what the cool thing was like I was sitting in the back with Leonard Garcia, and that dude is like one of the most down to earth guys. Like,
yeah,
he was in there. He was in there when my opponent missed weight, and like he talked to me while I was signing. Like, came up to me and talking to me, like starting conversations. Like, he wasn't walking around like, I'm Leonard Garcia.
Yeah,
you should want to talk to me. And like, which I did have to fanboy after my fight. I was like, dude, you mind if I get a picture with you, man? He's like, after that knockout, you can have whatever the hell you want, man. Like. Leonard Garcia is a really cool dude, and Jim Alers seems like a guy that'd be fun to train with. But in that fight, man, he just from the time the bell rung, man, he lit into Garcia, and it was just nasty.
You know what's funny? You notice that the majority of the guys that fight bare knuckle are once they're out of the ring, you're all very fan friendly. There's no attitude. I think once the gloves come off, it's a little bit different. Like, you have nothing to prove.
No,
you literally fight with no gloves. There's nothing left.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from anybody that fights MMA. Like, honestly, it's any fighter. That's any fighter in general. Like, if you step in the ring, whether you get knockouts or submissions or anything, like any kind of martial arts that gets in the ring and competes for a living, I mean, you have nothing left to prove. So why do you have to walk around like a badass when the whole world already knows if they want to try you, let's get paid to do it. I tell people all the time because they're like, man, please don't try to fight me. I'm like, I'm not going to fight you. Like, I get paid to fight. Why would I do it for free?
I'm fighting you for free? That don't make sense.
That's a very good point.
I'm excited. I don't know. I'm over here like trying to sort it out what the news is. I mean, we're excited when you made your debut. Win, lose, or draw, it was a great fight.
Yeah.
And then you made a good friend out of it. Like, there's pictures of you guys hanging out and stuff. That's great.
Man,
now you come out here.
I've actually texted and called him, talked to Stevenson because I had questions on how to navigate the bare knuckle people. And they've all treated me great, but like, I understand at the end of the day, that's a business and I am just an employee. I am just a fighter. So I have to make sure that like, I'm not getting the runaround. So like, there's been times where I've messaged Harris and been like, hey man, how did you handle this? And he's immediately, whenever he was able to, responded back and talked to me. And we talked about hopefully getting together and doing some cross training before too long.
You guys are like poster boys for the sport. Just the way it's really just the way you carry yourselves. Before the fight, you're very, very humble.
People already look at this sport as it's a bunch of savages, and just like when MMA started, they looked at it like, this is just a bunch of thugs. And I always, from the get-go, wanted to prove that, that we're not thugs. Like, that it takes a certain breed of people to be in this sport, yes. But, like, honestly, most of the fighters you meet, they're not jerks. Like, they're kind family people. I mean, you got a few of them, like Colby Covington and people like that, probably don't do the greatest image. But, hey, it's getting them noticed, so.
Yeah. 100%,
What was it?
man.
We'll fight for food or whatever. He was out on the highway with a sign that one time.
Well, no, you're right, man. I mean, I don't want to beat with a dead horse, but you're right. Like, I really think, not to take anything away from anybody else, man, but I really think, like I said, I think bare knuckle in its truest form it really is like a gentleman's sport, right? I really do think it's the truest, most rawest sport, in my opinion, there is. And like you said, most of you guys are gentlemen, man. I mean, most of you guys are just, like you said, the nicest family guys, give the shirt off your back type of personality. I mean, I've noticed that, and man, just about everybody, especially like in the bare knuckle kind of family, we haven't encountered anybody that I would really say otherwise. I mean, truthfully, I really can't think of anybody off the top of my head that, that's like that. But I'll tell you what, let's pick your brain real quick. So we were talking about UFC 241 earlier. It's a huge show coming up. Just to get your thoughts, DC and Stipe, and then we want to get your thoughts on Pettis and Nate.
All right. First of all, I love both of the fighters, DC and Stipe. Like DC, as long as he's been champion, has always been just a model for how champions are acts. He's a family man. I think if I remember correctly, he coaches a local school's wrestling team and gave the entire salary away to the other coaches because he didn't need it. He's took in like fighters like Luis Pena and done wonders. Stipe, the man won his belt and then the very next day went home and worked a shift as a fireman. You can't get more hometown and respectful than that. Unfortunately, I got to side with DC on this one. I don't think it's going to end quickly. I think it's going to end up being a very long, grueling wrestling match between Stipe and DC, and there's just going to be heavy bombs in between. So that's my pick on that one. As far as Diaz versus Pettis, any other time, my money's on Pettis. The smart bet would probably be Pettis, but I ain't ever counting out Diaz. Just like I won't ever bet against Cowboy. I'm never betting against Nate Diaz. I'm not doing it. Those are two of my favorite fighters, and I just won't go against them out of loyalty.
I can't knock your pick.
I'll remain silent.
You don't have to remain silent anymore. You're good. Just to go ahead. Go ahead. You don't have to remain silent on that.
Oh no, I pick Nate no matter who he's fighting. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. I'm with you. I will never ever bet against Nate. I don't care who he's fighting. I don't care where it is. I don't care what weight it is. I always pick him.
You can't hate the man. The man is true to his nature, man. It's gotten him in a lot of trouble with the UFC, but at the same time, this man's been gone for how long? And the first thing he does in his first media is lights up a blunt on stage and starts shadowboxing.
It's kind of awesome. It is. It's a little bit awesome. Yeah.
You know what? I can't talk too much. I always, God, I'd probably say 9 out of 10 times I'm biased towards wrestlers. Because I wrestled in high school, so I guess I don't know. Like DC, I will never pick against DC. He is probably if there's a top 3, I'm sure DC's up there for me. Just my personal top 3.
Yeah, definitely.
I think DC's up there. Another big fight. What's the Romero Costa fight? That's an interesting fight.
Oh, that's gonna end. That I can't pick that. My coach has fallen in love as far as with Costa. The dude's just a savage, and Gal Romero. You can't help but like that, man. He's 41, and he's taking out fools left and right.
Yes.
Not to mention, he just won a huge. I'm not even sure why he's fighting again. He won millions of dollars off that lawsuit. That tells me he just loves to fight.
Yeah.
But that's just going to end in a nasty knockout with somebody. One person or another can get knocked out.
That's a safe assessment. It's not going to decision. I don't think so either.
I think it's a very safe assessment. Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Kaleb, man, we appreciate your time so much. We don't want to keep you holding too long. We know you'll probably get back to doing whatever you're doing, man. We appreciate your time, man.
About his fight. Don't forget.
Yeah. We appreciate your time, man, so much. And like I said, we're fans. we're that's it. We admitted it. We're fans, but we're fans of the entire sport, man. And what you guys did, what you did, Jim did, what Peralta and Fiera did, and man, Henry. I mean, we're huge fans, man. We're huge fans of the sport, and just so much respect to all you guys. I mean, I just can't say it enough. I'll be a broken record till the end of the time. I just can't say it enough. But anyway, we appreciate your time so much, sir, and you enjoy the rest of your night, my friend.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me. And like I said, everybody needs to stay tuned on my social media pages. There's gonna be a big announcement soon.
We're staying tuned. Don't worry. We're on top of this.
We'll be in tune, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, Kaleb. Have a good night, man.
Take care.
Well, that was Mr. Kaleb Harris.
I wouldn't want to get hit like that.
I mean, I wouldn't want to get hit by any of them.
Yeah.
None of them.
His knockout was Mark Hunt-esque, like land it and just turn around kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. Like his knockout to me is probably on par with. I tell you what was a good knockout, and I can't even remember the guy who did it. I just remember the guy who got knocked out when Aljamain Sterling got knocked out and it looked like he was dabbing. I can't think of who knocked him out.
Moraes.
Yeah, Marlon Moraes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, when he was like that. I equate that knocked out because it was almost like it wasn't even like a quick drop. It was like a slow timber. I would be afraid it would look disrespectful, so I would never do it. But I'd almost want to see maybe a video and be like, is that terrible?
A little bit. I'm thinking so.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, man. If you're watching, I'm sorry, brother.
I give that guy credit, man. You know what? It doesn't matter how he lost. He got knocked down, got back, kept getting back up.
Yeah.
At any point, the ref asked, or do you want to continue? You could just say no and pack it in.
Yeah.
And he did not do that. So shout out to him for that, for sure. You know what else is exciting? We have a celebrity fashion designer now.
Oh, 100%, man.
See that?
That was cool, man. Like, we've never had a designer on. That was pretty cool. Now, you know what, though? You know what I think the key thing that ties it all in is, like you said.
That we go to the Grammys?
Well, not that. But,
okay.
like the grind, the whole grind thing, I think everybody can really identify with that. And, us more so than just about anybody else, we appreciate that. I see Mr. Beast Jim Alers down there just signing in. But guys, real quick, we're going to be right back with Mr. Jim Alers. He just won the main event of BKFC 7 versus Leonard Garcia. If you're not aware, and you should be, go to Fight TV for the replay. We'll be right back with him in 30 seconds. Do not go anywhere.
Brad Bishop and Still Nutrition. And shout out to the Combat Insiders for allowing us the opportunity to introduce ourselves. We're a supplement geared towards combat sports. We're designed with a fight in mind, so don't cut weight without us.
Mr. Alers, what's up, my friend?
What's up?
Hey, so we just had Kaleb Harris on a few minutes ago, and I'm going to ask you the same intro question that I asked him, right? So here we are. We're a few days past BKFC 7. You had an awesome performance at BKFC 7. Knockout Leonard Garcia, UFC vet, tough guy. Like what? How are you?
Knocked out before.
Never been knocked out before. That's very important to note that. Never been knocked out before. Like, how are you feeling, man? Like, how are you taking all this? Like, what's been the response from, the people that know you? Like, just tell us what's going through your brain, man.
Man, it's just like, it's crazy because I watched the fight for the first time the other day and I was just like, who's that guy in there, man? I think, a fire just got reignited because I watched my old fights and I used to rush out the same way and just be excited to be in the cage and finish the fight fast. And I think as my career went on and I got into the UFC, I got into this whole like, I don't know. I started to play it safe, man. It's a crazy thing being in the UFC, man. You work so hard to get to a position, and you're there, and now you're like, man, if I don't win, I'm only gonna make half of this money that they're giving me. Not the whole thing's not promising. And guess what? If I don't perform well, man, I'm not guaranteed. I can lose, and perform well, and guess what? I'm cut or something, So much pressure in the UFC. But here, man, I'm just having fun, man. I'm gonna get paid the same, win or lose. So I'm like, why not go out there and try to get that? Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
I lost you. I'm frozen on my screen.
That's all right. It'll kick back up.
It'll kick back in. It's all right. Can you still see us?
Yeah, I can see you guys.
Okay,
but
cool.
Yeah, man. So it's just people are just like, man, like, dude, the Beast is back, man. We're changing your name to the Bare Knuckle Beast now.
There you go.
Here's another fun fact. You're 2-0 with 2 fights, 2 rounds, with a grand total of 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
Wow.
Come on, man. The people want to see you fight. You're finishing fights in like 10 seconds. Not that that's a bad thing. Not that that's a bad thing.
Here's the thing, Dave Feldman has asked for you to put the toes on the line and square up and throw down. And that's what I'm doing, man. I'm not in there looking for a 5-round decision to outbox the person. I'm a fighter. I'm not a boxer. So I'm going in there and I'm bringing the fight to you. So, I mean, I think, I'm going to say it right now, man. I'm the best bet for Artem next, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to bring the fight to him. So they need to give me that fight, man. No one else has 2 knockouts in the first round like I have. And, I think I kind of messed up their plans by going in there and destroying Leonard Garcia like that. They really wanted to see, I think, Garcia and Artem. But I kind of changed things for them there.
Well, they were saying that Garcia was on pretty much a collision course with Artem, but like you said, you might have thrown a monkey wrench in the plan. Does that fight make sense? 100%. Now, I mean,
well, before we get into Artem, real quick, Jim, I don't know if I saw you driving. I don't know if you're able to watch the screen, but I want to play a quick clip from Saturday night, and I just kind of want you to walk us through this after the clip is over. This is from your fight Saturday night.
Knocked out for a 4th time in this round. More big uppercuts. Wild traffic
Beautiful.
for Alers.
So,
The win for Jim Alers in our main event.
So my whole plan, of course, is to close the distance on him. I didn't want to stay on the outside, right, and get caught with one of those looping punches. What I did is not just chaos in there. This was planned and drilled. So, it was close the distance, get in his face, put my hands on him, and use my clinch, which I did, and it worked out perfectly.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I remember in either of your fights you taking 1 step backwards ever.
No,
Like
man.
you said, you bring it. You bring the fight to them.
Yeah, I think, I'm not saying I figured out bare knuckle, but to me, it's You can't be on the outside. You can't box. A lot of things that you do in boxing and MMA even, you can't do in this, man. So, you got to be close. You got to close the distance. You got to dirty box. And that's what I'm doing. I don't want to be in there 5 rounds. I see what happens to those guys, win or lose, when they come out of their 5 rounds. I don't want to look like that. I like having this pretty face.
Well, look, I know you already touched on Artem, but I mean, what is next for Jim Alers? Like, would you like to get right back in there? You want to take a little bit of time off? You want to try going back to, you want to do maybe another MMA fight or something? Or like what's the path for Jim Alers right now?
Man, like I said, I'm doing it all. From my last fight, my fight before this was 6 weeks ago. So in 6 weeks, I did 2 bare knuckle fights and 2 jiu-jitsu super fights. I'm just want to be active.
Do you think in the beginning when you came in, because your jiu-jitsu is very high level, do you think maybe some people thought you might not bring it the way you do because you're such a high level ground guy?
Yeah, I'm sure that was on everyone's mind, man. Everyone thought, hey, man, this guy's a jiu-jitsu guy. Or I've seen this guy fight before. You know, he doesn't have the hands. Man, I've been learning. You know, I haven't fought in 8 months. I've just been improving and working on things. So I know I may come to a surprise for people, but I've always had hands, man. I've dropped plenty of people in fights. I just finished them on the ground instead.
I don't think anybody's going to be doubting the hands any longer.
No.
Ever. No.
But you know, and you, it was funny because when we talked last week, or maybe the week before, I don't remember now. My time gets mixed up. But last time we talked, I called you a KO artist, and you kind of laughed at me. But now, I tell you what, man, I really think that you are. I think you have turned into a knockout artist now. You know, I like Nick said, I know you were, you know, known before like for your ground game, but man, since you transitioned over here, like you said, I think it's really. How did you say it? You said that, you know, maybe you figured something out. Maybe you figured out bare knuckle that maybe nobody else knows. Maybe you figured out the perfect game plan. Whoop.
Lost you for a
there
second.
He is. There he is.
No, you're good. You're good. No,
I
was just saying that, you know, you laughed at me when I called you a knockout artist before, but here it is. You know, here we are again after the Leonard Garcia fight. You know, you made quick work of Leonard Garcia, and like you said, maybe it's something you figured out. Maybe you figured out something that maybe nobody else has thought of yet, right? Maybe you figured out the bare knuckle game. What do you attribute to your success to bare knuckle?
I mean, just me and my boxing coach, we have such a good friendship and everything, you know, and, you know, I remember I told him, hey, I think I'm going to do this bare knuckle thing. He's like, man, you're crazy. And I'm like, You know what, man, I used to do this for free in my friends' backyards and stuff. You know, I'm like, what's the difference? I'm like, it's just going to protect my hands, gloves, you know? So, you know, we just kind of watched a lot of film and we're just like, man, these guys who are winning and stuff, it's because they are the aggressors. They are pushing the pace. So I think I just, you know, I have this fire in me that I don't want to get fucked up. I don't want my face to get messed up, man. So I'm like, it's either I do the damage or they're gonna do the damage. So I'm going in there and I'm just trying to get the finish fast. And I know people are questioning like, oh man, but can you keep that pace? Yes, I can keep the pace, man. My goal is to not even sit down in between rounds. I'm gonna stand up and just wait for the next round. I'm used to 5-minute rounds.
You know what I think it is, Josh, and we've said this a million times. You watch people fight, and then one guy comes along. And we always say it. We say a different type of savage. There's like a guy who comes along who's just different. You seem to be that guy. I mean, you bring the pace, you put the pressure, you're willing to do it for 5 rounds, and you can. That's different. That's a different kind of game plan. Nobody ever game plans, right? I'm going to go all out for the whole fight. That's hard to do, but you're able to do it. And I think
my conditioning is ridiculous, man. I push it more than anything. Last thing I want is to get tired in a fight.
Now, I know from our point of view, from, you know, a fan's point of view or a media's point of view, right? Your stock shot up, but like, how do you feel, man? Like, what have you noticed just since Saturday, maybe with the bare knuckle bigwigs or with maybe other members of the media? Like, how do you feel your stock has shot up just since Saturday?
Definitely, you know, social media and just, you know, just the amount of people that are asking for me to be on podcasts and interviews and stuff. It's just definitely way more than it was, you know, 8 weeks ago. Like I said, it's in 6 weeks, I fought 2 times, you know, but, I just don't want to let that get to my head again. When the whole thing with the UFC, man, I'm in the UFC, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be a star, man. I'm just having fun, taking it day by day. Yeah. And, I'm just waiting to see what's next. You know, like I said, I take it fight by fight, see what they offer, see if it makes sense, and we'll go from there.
I feel like that plan is working out because you sat with us right after your fight in Tampa. Remember, and your game plan was the same. Hey, man, I just had a good time in this fight. We're going to see what's next. I think it's a safe bet that the fight he would want and the fight we would want to see, I think Artem makes sense.
I'd love to, man. I never got to slap Connor when we were supposed to fight. So I'd love to, like I said in my post-fight interview, just mess up his little henchman for him.
You know what? It's really good too because like I said, styles makes fights, right? Where Artem, is ready to kind of get right in there too, and he can take a lot of damage. So I'm interested to see your damage versus his like resilience, right? Because I honestly, and this isn't a knock on Leonard or you or anything. I honestly thought I knew it wasn't gonna go the full distance. I knew that, right? I was thinking, maybe second round, right? I didn't think it was gonna go the full distance, but I was surprised. I thought Leonard was gonna be able to take more damage than I thought he was going to. And it's no disrespect to Leonard or anything. I love Leonard Garcia, but I was really surprised. Like you hit like a fucking Mack truck. And I'm curious to see how Artem handles that if you two were ever the cross pass.
I mean, yeah, obviously he trains with Connor, so I'm sure he's used to getting hit hard and accurate. But I don't know, man, it's different. I think, and I just think I can break him, man. Someone with that many losses,
yeah,
I feel it's nothing against him. He's tough and he's going to go in there. But I think when he is down and he wants to give up, I think he breaks, man. He has 15 losses, man. Yeah, he's fought tough people, but he's been broken by tough people, man. So, and I'm a tough guy.
The only thing I note that jumps out to me right away between you and him is your cardio is way up here. Like, watch the end of his fight with Jason Knight. He was tired. That's not a knock on him. I was tired watching that fight, so I'm not knocking him at all. You know what I mean? But I'm saying that's the stuff should it get into the later rounds where I feel punching, I think it's irrelevant. You hit hard, he hits hard. We know that. He's tough, you're tough. We know that. But I think in this game, your endurance, if should it go later, I think that plays a big part. Because if you're tired, you're slower.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't want to definitely have a fight and be like, man, my cardio's gone. Your mind is telling you, come on, hands up, throw this, throw that. Your body is just not responding, man. Cardio, not having cardio, man, makes cowards out of champs all the time.
We're asking everybody, Jim. DC versus Stipe, Nate versus Pettis. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with DC again, just because, man, I just think the only person that has his number is Jones, and I'm just gonna go with Diaz because he whooped up Connor, and I'll always be in debt to that, man.
You're the only one, Josh. You're literally the only one.
Oh, he's going with what, Pettis?
Yeah, I'm going with Pettis. Yeah.
Yo, Pettis is cool. He's flashy, I guess. Yeah.
But out of me and him, somebody has to be wrong. He's just going to have to eat this one.
Well, I won't change my opinion. I'm a fan of Pettis. I've been a fan of Pettis for a while. Like, I don't like changing teams because he was on that losing streak for a while, and I could have changed teams. I could have said, man, no, screw Pettis. He's always losing. But you know what? I'm staying true. I was a Pettis fan when he was losing. I'm a Pettis fan now. So
I like Pettis, man. I've trained with him. I've gone and trained with Rufus for a while, and that's when he was a champ, actually.
Yeah.
And cool guy and everything, but I think hopefully he's adapted. I just was like, man, people kind of figured him out, and I think that's why he was losing. But I don't know if he got lucky with the Wonder Boy knockout or anything, but it was beautiful. It was cool. Yeah. The fan in me would love to see some kind of flashy knockout, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
It would be interesting. Like, and we were just talking about it. Like, it's awkward, right? Like, or just weird. Like, he has this weird style where he doesn't telegraph a whole lot. He doesn't have a whole lot of setups. It's just next thing you know, boom, like that Wonder Boy. Yeah. Like the Superman punch to Wonder Boy. Like, it was just, there was no setup. It was, if my memory serves me correct, I think Thompson either punched him or
Was
kicked him or
pushing the
something.
pace, yeah, and then
Yeah, he was
boom,
pushing
Superman.
against him, and then pow, and that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But Mr. Alers, I tell you what, man, we appreciate your time, man. I know, like you said, you've been busy and you've had a lot of done a lot of interviews as of late, but we appreciate your time so much, man. It's an absolute pleasure. Whenever you're on, you are always welcome here on Combat Insiders, man. And we look forward to some news dropping. We hope to hear some news sooner than later about your next fight.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
Keep it tuned here to Combat Insiders, and we'll have that news. Mr. Alers, absolute pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your night, sir.
All right, guys. Later.
All right, man.
Thanks, Jim.
So, yeah,
He's
man.
so nice to be so scary.
But how many times have we said that? How many times have we said that about, you know what I mean?
Right, but you know what's different with him is just that, like, we're there. He came up to where we were broadcasting and sat down and just kind of got involved in the thing. Nicest guy ever. But I think they're all like that. Once they enter the squared circle, that's where shit gets real. Like, I wouldn't want to get there. He might have a lapse of memory and be like, I got to punch this guy in his face. I'm not getting hit like that. I don't know.
100%. Guy, you know, something I kind of wanted to bring up tonight, man, and you know what? Call it what you want, maybe picking a fight. I don't know. But you know what, man? I'm going to say it, and it's not a pat on the back. We cover bare knuckle like nobody else does. I know we got a few competitors out there, but guys, I'm telling you, when you look at the facts on paper, there is no comparison. There isn't. We've been covering it since, you know, before the first bare knuckle fight was legal in the States. There is no comparison. There is no comparison. So, like, your bare knuckle news, articles, videos, stuff like that, keep it tuned here. And maybe that's a little pat on the back to us, maybe, but it's just facts. There is no comparison. We got some, you know, imitators, but they can't duplicate. They can't duplicate it. They can't duplicate the grind and the time we've put into just specifically bare knuckle. So I just wanted to get that out there. I wanted to put that out there. I do feel better.
I do feel better.
Oh, by the way, guys, we do have Quentin Henry coming up next too. But subscribe if you're enjoying the stream, and why wouldn't you be? I don't know. I'm enjoying it. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, hit the like button. We're on Facebook, we're on Reddit, we're on Twitter. You know, we've got combatinsidersmedia.com, and check us out. Give us a follow, like, whatever. You know what to do. You know, I'm talking about all this. You guys know what the social media lingo. But I you know what? I almost hate saying share, like, follow, share, like, follow. I hate saying it. I feel like a puppet or something, but it's just, you guys know what to do.
We should just convert it over and say, do the social media thing.
Do the social media thing. Just do it, right?
Thing.
Just show us some love. We would really appreciate it.
I'm gonna move over to here because after your last comment, your box might need more headroom. So I'm gonna move over on this side.
What do you mean? No.
I'm just messing with you.
Well, wait a minute. But
I agree with what you said. I agree with
but wait a minute. It's our headroom because we are Combat Insiders. I'm not Combat Insiders.
I didn't say it though, so I get to slide over.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. Since I did say it, if there's any heat from it, I'll take the heat. No big deal. I'm okay with that.
I'll be your shield.
Okay.
I'll help be your shield. Yeah,
that was nice. That was a nice thing to say.
It is nice.
That was a nice thing to say. Guys, we're waiting on Quentin Henry to come up. We're waiting for him to kind of sign in here. But man, I'm pumped for this weekend. I'm still reeling from last weekend. Bare knuckles.
The Diaz train is strong on this show tonight.
That's all right. You know what? Do you know what though, man? I'm not knocking it. Like, no. I'm not even saying for sure. I would never say for sure, yeah, Pettis is going to beat Diaz because
I like Pettis. He's up in my list. Unfortunately, he's fighting the person who's on the top of my list.
Is there anybody that Diaz could fight that you would turn against Diaz?
No.
Nobody. Okay.
He could fight one of my family members, and I'm picking him.
Oh, no.
That's just where we are.
Oh, no. No.
Listen, I started off liking him very early, and I just kind of stuck with it. Now, like you said, if they get Nate's got losses, what is he? He's above 500.
Yeah.
He could be below 500. I'm still gonna be a fan. Like I literally got in the mail today his limited edition numbered walkout shirt.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right. All
Yep.
right.
It's not ever coming out of the package. It's already.
Is it going in the frame? You're putting it in the frame?
It already is. It already
wow.
is. I had the frame on the wall empty, waiting for it to arrive.
Oh my Lord.
Yes.
You know, I don't think, man, you know, I don't know if I have that guy. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have a guy that there's like there's nobody I would pick against him. I'm trying to think if I have that guy to me, and I don't. I don't think I have that person. Maybe the closest. Well, you know, I've already said it, but like DC is up there.
It's hard to pick against DC in general.
Well,
it really is.
I just like him so damn much. Like I really like. I've seen how he acts like outside the ring, and you know, like you said, he teaches fucking school kids. You know, he's the high school coach, or no, like an elementary school coach or something, man. You know,
he doesn't have to do that.
It's hard to dislike somebody that does that. It's hard. It really is.
That's a fair statement.
I don't know. I'm trying to think, man. I like DC a lot. I did like GSP a lot. I mean, I still do, but he's not really active anymore. I like GSP a lot. That's tough, man. That's tough. Guys, we're just hanging out here. We're trying to figure out if there is a.
He's signing in now.
Okay, cool. We'll be expecting Quentin here any second. What are your guys' thoughts? Let us know. Let us know in the comments down below. UFC 241 this weekend, or maybe it's a comment from Bare Knuckle. I don't know. Maybe it's something you want to talk about that we haven't discussed yet. Christine Fiera, Helen Peralta. We said it was going to be a fight of the night way before anybody else did. And it was fight of the night. No surprise here. None whatsoever.
I'd like to see that one again, but unfortunately, that whole belt and everything is tied into that tournament. You know what I mean? So
it'll have to be after the tournament.
Yeah, like she has the belt and moves on. So what happens then? If she wins the whole tournament, she gets the world belt, and then the American belt goes to the number one.
I don't know, man.
That's a question for Mr. Scott Burt. We're going to have to find out. I think, wouldn't he be the one?
I would assume if anybody was the one,
it would be him.
Be the one.
Yeah. I'm not real sure how that works.
Yeah, I would assume if anybody was the one, it would be him, 110%. And looks like we got our pal here, Quentin Henry. Looks like he's signing on.
Bro, I'm trying to rig up my camera here.
Mr. Henry, what's going on, man?
Oh, you know, just having a normal day where I'm messing everything up.
You're all right.
This is my life. It's like stupid. Get it together.
Good, man. Looking good.
Don't rush, man. Get it together. It's all good.
Right. Hey, you're right, guys. Quality over quantity. Let me do this right. Hold on one second. Quality
over quantity. You know what? Actually, I like that. That's one of my mottos. Actually, quality over quantity. I 110% agree with that.
I can agree with
that. We're just waiting on Quentin Henry to get set up here. Take your time, man. Take your time, brother.
I'm that guy. I accept it though, so it doesn't make me a bad person.
There you go.
Hold on. What? You see that Gracie Baja in the back too?
Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks good, brother.
All right. Hero fit.
There you go. What's up, man? How you feeling?
Man, I feel great.
Yeah,
I feel really good.
Well, speaking of that, I got a clip from this past weekend, and I want you to take a look at it and just kind of give us your thoughts. This is from your fight this past weekend.
Both eyes. interesting opening round, and then Henry largely has had the offense, but Marlborough has landed the big shot, but now he goes down in the final seconds of round one. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round. He will not be saved there, and a come from behind first round victory for Quentin Henry.
So my question is, Mr. Henry, is it looked like from the opening moments you were kind of having some adversity, right? In the opening round, you kind of, in the opening seconds, you had some adversity, and then you knocked his mouthpiece out, bro. Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
What were you thinking during those moments?
I kind of feel bad. I kind of really almost feel bad when I see that, because he's a super nice guy, but
yeah,
that's me on the other side of it. Man, Tiger got out of the cage, bro. You know what I mean? At the beginning, I was super pumped. I was just, I was just ready. And I was thinking, back before the fight, Dave was back there getting us pumped up. And so I was pumped up, ready to go. And when it started, I came at him and I hit him with some solid shots.
Yeah.
And I thought I had him hurt, and I may have. But the dude was just tough. I mean, I tell everybody, I'm like, yeah, his name was Bubba. I don't know if y'all are from the South, but if you are, there ain't nobody named Bubba that ain't tough. Every one of them.
Country tough.
Bubba,
See, we just learned
Bubba,
something today.
Bubba or Bo, they tough. All right, they might not fight that good, but you wear yourself out trying to beat them. So, but there was that, and I kept landing those shots, and I just was getting, like there was blood in the water. Started throwing, I was getting super wild, and he did really well to kind of stay in the game, and then countered with that overhand right, man, and ooh, bam, hit me. Thought I blew my knee out because I didn't realize he hit me.
I wanted to ask that from watching it, why it was live. What actually happened? It looked like you immediately went down. You never touched your face. It didn't look like you were hurt that way, but you immediately clutched that knee. What happened? You were able to get up and kind of walk it off, I guess. What happened there?
Well, I'm just throwing bones, just in the middle of it, having a good old time, and all of a sudden my knee buckles, and it's just like crack, and it felt like it, dislodged or whatever, dislocated. So, I'm immediately thinking, I just blew my knee out. Like, how did I do that? So I'm grabbing it as I'm falling down. And then, I'm grabbing it, and then I start moving it a little bit, and then I'm like, huh. And I roll over and I hop up. I'm like, it's fine. And then I started thinking about it. I said, damn, he just knocked me out. and then I got pissed. So then I jumped on him again. And when I jumped on him again, same thing. We threw back and forth. I ended up clinching, landed some good uppercuts.
Yeah.
And I thought I had him. I was finishing him with the uppercuts. And then, I brought one from Grandma's house and, was throwing it through the woods, over the hill and far, far away. And I missed and I fell, I slipped, that tiger, and so then they called it a knockdown, which, I'm not mad at Big Dan. He's a good referee. It might just look like a knockdown to him from there. But so I slipped. So I'm standing up talking to him. And, I was telling him, I was like, man, I slipped. And he's like, still counting, so it doesn't matter. So now I'm thinking, all right, I'm 2 knockdowns on the card. Doesn't matter. That was a slip. If I slip again, the fight's over. They're going to call it. And then I hear my dad screaming at me in the corner. He's like, throw your fucking jab. And, all this. And which was the game plan, So then after the second knockdown, I said, all right, I need to chill out and start fighting. And then at that point, that's when I started throwing the jab and took over. I mean, I think it was 20 seconds after that I knocked him out. But that's what I was supposed to do from the beginning. But
look, like I said, that was one of my notes. If you can read that, implemented jab after second knockdown. That was one thing that I really noted after that. I don't know. It seemed like the whole pace of the fight changed. As soon as you started sticking that jab, landing some stiff jabs, it changed everything.
I mean, that's how I've always fought. And, that's how I know how to fight. And that was the game plan, utilize the jab to set something up. And I'll see it when I know, I'll know when I see it type of deal. And, that's what I did. I came in and started hitting him with the jab. And I've got a good jab. And, I feel like I can jab as hard as anybody on the planet. And when I hit people with it, they know it. And I get a reaction. So, I hit him with one. The first one I hit him with, I heard my dad screaming, "That one cut him." And I don't know how he could tell because I couldn't see it. I looked at his eye and then I saw it just go, boop, and it split open and started bleeding. So I hit him with two more right there. And then he started turning his head the other way, which is a no-no. You always want to go to the back side of the hand, but that's the eye was eating up. So then when he started turning the other way, I caught him on the chin once. And I was seeing he was kind of ducking that head. Whether he was coming with that overhand right, it didn't really matter. I wasn't timing on that. I was timing on the fact that when I was throwing my jab, he was feinting the other side. So it was setting up my right hand. So that's why I threw it the way I did, because I knew it was going to land. And I just had to beat him there. Man, it did landed.
Yeah, yes, it did.
Is it kind of like a separate notch in the belt? I mean, you set the pace for the entire show with that.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm super proud of that. And that's what I was telling Morton, all them when I was there. It was just, that's what I told him. I was like, man, I'm just happy to be here. I'd almost quit fighting this after my last fight. I was kind of done with it for good. I was going to do another pro boxing match, but that really didn't get me lit up anymore. And then my agent came out with this. I had one of my guys do bare knuckle, and then they offered him another fight, but he couldn't do it. And my agent was like, "See if you throw your name in there." I'm like, yeah, all right. And then they did it, and I was like, okay, all right, let's do this. And I really like it. It's fun. It plays to my strength because I am a counter striker, or not necessarily a counter striker, but I'm a rangy fighter. I have a very good jab, and I move pretty good on the inside. There were a lot of things that I did that were super sloppy that I teach people not to do all the time. And I feel like with the right training camp and with the right people involved, and support, really, if I just had the sponsors so I didn't have to work so much. But to be able to get a training camp geared strictly towards bare knuckle, I feel like I can make a home here for a while.
Everybody gets hooked. They come into one and they love it.
Yeah,
you're no exception.
Well, one of the things, and then it's super entertaining too. All the fans love it. Not necessarily. You still, got the shock and awe factor. People like, oh, it's bare knuckle, that type of deal. There's people that want to see that. But, at the same the way that David treats the fighters and the fighters feel about what they're doing for the sport, because, we're the Randy Coutures of this right now. There's people that the other night that watched bare knuckle boxing the first time in their entire life, and they watched me do that.
Yeah.
And boom, that's fans for life, not just for me, but for the sport. Those people always say, man, my very first bare knuckle match, there was this dude in these Apollo Creed shorts. He was crazy, knocked this dude. And, so that's kind of the excitement that's around with it now, especially on the fighter side. So, yeah, man, it's something else.
I think the first fight is very important because how somebody will see if any event, it doesn't matter. And if the first fight is anything short of spectacular, they're like, oh, here we go. This card's not going to be good, or this card's going to be whatever. They judge it.
What's terrible is that I didn't even get. And it's not terrible. It's impressive. My hat's off. I didn't get knocked out of the night. And
what does that say for what happened?
It was second fight. It was like, and I finished that fight, and I was watching a replay of it. I'm like, that's me. I got knocked out of the night all day eating that. And then he did that to that dude, and I didn't see it happen, but I saw the guy in the back, and I'm like, oh man, he got knocked out. Then
that's different than regular knocked out. That's a different level.
Yeah, like lost, probably 30 minutes of his life he'll never get back, from memory or something. And watched the replay of his knockout, and I'm like, yeah, he beat me. I'm not even mad about it. That was just, he just starts that guy. I feel like I had a more exciting fight before, but man, he definitely took knockout of him. I've been fighting with him for a long time.
And you know what? It's tough because we were talking about that too, because all the fights were so good, right? Like, it's tough. I would not want to be the person, to pick KO the night, because, like I said, I thought it was down to you guys, and then of course, I thought it was down to you guys, Kaleb Harris fight, and then the Jim Alers Leonard Garcia. Like, I thought maybe like it would kind of be between you three, and I wouldn't have been surprised either way. I really wouldn't have. And
Right.
even like the fight of the night, Fiera and Peralta won fight of the night. Again, I thought, your guy, even though, it was short, I think your fight would have been a real good contender for fight of the night as well.
Yeah. They kind of reserved that one for the one just because.
Yeah.
I don't. It's 5 rounds, and you fought for 5 rounds very well, and entertained the entire time. So
Yeah.
I'll do that, then you curve it. So from a fighter standpoint, but yeah, them
100.
girls.
Oh my God, it was nasty.
So now the cool question, because obviously we know you liked it. What's next for you in bare knuckle? Is there? Do you have anything in the pipeline?
Nope.
We're talking about them, kind of looking at, there might be a couple different messages or something. I'm interested to see if that would be a class that I could or would care to make. Try something. I would like to fight there, Luxie. I'm kind of looking at right now. We're going to talk about contracts next week. Like I said, I didn't have much. I had 28 days. I wasn't training with bare knuckle boxers, and I didn't really have, any idea how to, train what to do. We were kind of winging it, and but if I'm a sign a contract and do something for real, I want to do it for real. I'm doing MMA and jiu-jitsu and boxing, or like I've had my whole life. I'm gonna go be the best bare knuckle boxer in the world without expecting there to be, some type of time delay there. A couple months of just train every day with the intent on bare knuckle boxing, so that I can change my game, because it's not.
Right.
I've got so many habits from boxing and MMA got to break, and there's new habits they need to be and what to start to develop. Based on what game I'm going to come with. Because I can do either. I think I can drop. I think I stay aside like Anderson Silva and pick people. It just depends, how my training camp goes and what I need to do.
Let me follow up to that, because you're talking about training like specifically for bare knuckle, transitioning over, from the traditional boxing MMA world. What was the thing that surprised you the most, as far as maybe like training preparation, or whether the fight itself? What's the biggest difference between bare knuckle and, traditional boxing, MMA, whatever? What's the biggest thing that shocked you the most?
Okay. You were kind of cutting up, so just to be clear, you want to know what the difference for bare knuckle and what my biggest surprise was?
Yeah, like what was the most surprising? I mean, obviously,
Okay.
no gloves, but like, what was the most surprising thing to you? Yep.
Okay. Man, I could talk all night about that evening and the whole experience. It was so crazy, but yeah, the training camp, man, a lot of regular training camp as far as how I went about training. I was going to the boxing gym. I was, obviously I was taking into consideration. I feel like I'm a pretty accurate. I don't really hit people on top of the head or in bad positions to break my hands. But there were a couple of strikes and stuff that I was sparring with people. I would hit and I would say that I'd have probably just broke my hand if I would have hit them there. Strikes we were trying to change to where I was throwing them open hand to stay away from. I would say the biggest surprise when I was at, man, it didn't feel like as fighting in MMA, the punches.
Mm.
So, that, and there's that theory that people have, and I am that it was dangerous because I've always too, an unwrapped hand is a softer hand. It's to it, and then you also, you have, the greater possibility. So you do need to be a little more apprehensive about your shots, and could equate it to your yard, but you're barefoot. You're about where you put your weight and how quickly you distribute your weight. Innately you're going to do that because you're trying to consciously. So, that's something that I noticed. I think because that dude was not holding back on his punches. It didn't look like, but the fact that the hands give, and there's a lot of people that are so dependent on having their hands wrapped. They can't strike without it, and it's a mental thing. Like I can't train without a mouthpiece. I don't feel right. It doesn't matter what I'm training. If I don't have a mouthpiece, I don't feel right. So it's the same thing with hand wraps. And, boxers, if you guys boxed, you've been in boxing gyms a lot, the first thing they do when they walk in there is wrap their hands. The first thing a kickboxer does when they go in there is they wrap their hands. If an MMA guy is going to do some striking, they wrap their hands when they have practice. So, if my hand's wrapped, I can punch through a block wall. And I 100% believe that, and my hand will not break. My dad wraps hands that well. So I can punch, and my hand is so much harder is the thing. There's no give. But I've also trained my whole life and never wrapped my hands. So when I train and I do mitts, or I hit the heavy bag, I put gloves on, we spar, I've got no hand wraps on. And I've always done that, partly because I'm kind of lazy and, don't want to take the time to do it. But two, I always had this theory that by doing that, I'm making my hands tougher. I'm making my hands stronger because, we take bamboo sticks and we beat our shins up. You're creating the micro fractures and you're making that bone denser. So that was always my theory with that. So when I started doing bare knuckle training camp, I was not at all. I'm used to it. So, I was able to throw without that apprehension of worrying about my hands breaking. I'm going to. So I think that kind of gives me an edge because I think that has made my hands tougher. I grew up laying brick my whole life. That, that I'm sure that helped too. But Johnny Bedford, like, man, he's like, when they throw these punches and stuff with their hands aren't wrapped, he's like, they don't, you don't want to throw them or break your hands. And I was like, no, bro. I threw it with every inch of dick I had. I was throwing every one.
Bad intentions.
It was just coming through. That's the last was if my hands were going to break, and then after the fight, I got done. I didn't land every shot perfect. A little swelling here, and I had a little swelling here, but for the most part, my hands were perfectly fine.
Well, that entire game plan has, I believe, since you were the opening fight, upped your stock a great deal immediately. I think whenever the opening fight opens up and it's something spectacular, the spectacular person gets that fan base bump, man. There's people, did you look at social media after your fight? There's people that probably had no, watching the fight, were tagging you. They were all over, everything you did. And that's just great. It's great for you. It's great for us because you're on the show. It's great for the sport. It's great for the card. There was no negatives out of anything that. So it's awesome. And you wore Apollo Creed shorts. You can't. It's just awesome. You can't help it.
But yeah, man. Well, look, we appreciate your time, brother, and we know that there's probably 1,000 other things that you could do, and you chose to do it with us, and we greatly appreciate it, man. It was very impressive, your performance Saturday night, and much respect to you, man. Much respect to you, and we definitely look forward to you jumping in again. So when you get that news, come on back. Come on back. When you get that news, come on back, brother, and we'll have you on, man, and we'll talk about your next fight because I'm pumped just waiting to hear about your next fight. But until then, man, like I said, we appreciate your time, brother, and you enjoy the rest of your night.
Awesome. y'all having me. Keep a lookout. I'm having fun with the. I'm having kind of the deal. I did it, and the guy's like, "Man, it was like," and I was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm just a normal person. I'm just trying to enjoy myself." Some people get tired with trying to get to enjoy it, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I mean, laughing at myself from almost busted, trying to celebrate, calling out the ring, and like I'm liking the comments and stuff, even the bad ones. I'm laughing. I'm enjoying it. I've never needed the satisfaction of the world anyway. So, I got the people with me, win or lose. The rest of them are just for good entertainment.
There you go, brother.
Well said.
Well, there you go. All right, brother. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night, man. Like I said, we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Adios.
Have a good night, Henry. Well,
so what did we learn today? Jim Alers can keep that pace for 105 rounds. Kaleb Harris has mastered the walk-off knockout, and you can't fight anybody named Bubba or Bo.
I'm telling you. Let's see. We got 2 shout-outs here. Little Panda and Trix on. Hi, Josh. Hi, Josh. Hey, what's up? That's a personal shout-out. I don't know who that is, but they're saying hi.
I'll tell you exactly who that is. It's my son.
Is he?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Hi, Dominic. Cool. And hi, Sean. Sean's waiting. His buddy watches our stream.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you. I think they just subscribed. They're talking about they just subscribed to the show. Thumbs up, man.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, look, we're going to wrap this up, but we appreciate your time so much. Thank you to all the guests who came on. Appreciate it so much. Again, please, if you like the stream, like it, share it, subscribe it, do all the social media stuff.
Yeah.
Do the social media stuff. Again, big news coming soon. Saturday night. Just stay tuned to our social media. We may do another fight companion. Not sure yet. It's a good possibility, though. Definitely tune in next Thursday, 8 p.m., same time for our Combat Insiders Live once again. Look for the guest list for that soon. Until then, that's Nick Portella. I'm Joshua Furs, and we're out.